Hi here, Finn's here. I'm back for another video. Yes, I'm finally back. It's been like such a while since I've done another video on my channel. I've been very busy. I had a nice week off, nice holiday. I've also got a new job, which is great, so I've been very busy. So I haven't had time to do content on this channel, but I'm finally back, and would you believe it's been now over a month since the grand final of the Eurovision Song Contest 2021. Well, actually, it's been a couple of months, sorry. Yes, it came to an end over a month ago, but the Eurovision spirit continues, whatever time of year it is. However, although it was very nice to have Eurovision again this year, not everything went according to plan, in my opinion. Some things went horribly wrong, some things shouldn't have happened. So let's go on to the darker side of this, and let's talk about the top 10 things that were done wrong at Eurovision 2021. This is kind of a crimes list of who was done wrong, which country was robbed, what shouldn't have happened, how it was organised. Anyway, let's do the top 10 of my personal who got wronged at Eurovision 2021. Let's do this thing. Come on. Top 10. So basically, this is the top 10 who I think things, countries, results, what I think was wronged and shouldn't have happened. So let's start off with number 10. My number 10. Now, let's start off with something a little bit positive. San Marino, congratulations on getting your first 12 points in a grand final from a jury. 12 points, yes. Thank you, Poland. Thank you, Polish jury, for giving 12 points to San Marino in the grand final. That was very nice to see. However, when splitting the results, a darker side happened. Basically, San Marino only picked up 13 points from the televote. That blowed my mind when I was watching those results come in, because I think most people were going like, when the results were about to come in with San Marino's televote, we were saying, oh, there's something big, it's something going to be huge, Flow Rider, you know, it closed the show, we're going to go in for something big, you know, this is going to be a big televote. And what did I hear? And what did we all hear? 13 points.
13 points.
What? What's going on?
13 points. That blows my mind. It really does. I was very shocked and surprised that San Marino did very poorly in the televote. It closed the show. It closed the show. In my mind, this was San Marino's best ever entry. So I was expecting it to get the best ever result, and what did it come? 22nd? Serhat did better in 19th place. Yeah, that really says a lot, but I am very surprised, and I don't think it deserves to get only 13 points from the televote. I guess, how can I explain why this was so low? I think mainly, you know, San Marino is a small country, we cannot forget it. It's a micro-state in Italy. And yes, I think, you know, they don't have friends, they don't have neighbours apart from Italy. But I guess in the grand final, most of the Italian diaspora went to Italy, and they won the televote and won it all. So, yeah, that could have explained it all. Maybe with Flow Rider in as well, maybe people thought it was an interval act. Yeah, and it didn't do so well in the televote in the semi-final either. It only scraped in 9th place in the... Scraped in, that's my new word, scraped in. in ninth place in the semi. We all thought it was going to do better. Maybe they threw too much at the staging. Maybe that was another factor to it. But it kind of also proves, you know, you can close the grand final, but it doesn't mean you're going to get a good result. Look at Mickey. Look at Solero. Not Solera. Come on and take me. Come on and take me. Yeah, that's the end of Spain 2009. What performs last and comes 23rd. What else? Ryan Dolan from Ireland 2013. Performed last, finished last. Kind of proves, like, performing last in the grand final doesn't mean you're going to get a good result. But no, going back to San Marino, no, this deserved more than it got. 50 points did it get in the grand final? I mean, for San Marino, it's still second best result. It's still Valentine Bonnetta's grand final result, but I think it deserved more. It deserved more. Okay, my number 9, and this is an interesting one. I think my number 9 is very interesting. My number 9 is going back to the hosts a lot. Now, this year's hosts were great. I have to say that the best hosts since 2016, yeah. I mean, they could have been a little bit more funnier with the things they were saying, but, you know, they weren't stiff. They weren't acting like newsreaders, you know. They were fun. Nikki Tutorials, Dircia Romboli, I love that woman. They were all great, but my issue is, especially in that first semi-final, during the show, they did go to the hosts a lot, you know. And not like, you know, after 6 songs you go back to the host. That's fine, you know. But when the whole island thing, really, yeah, they showed the Irish postcard, and that was nice. And you would think, you would go to the stage and hear Leslie perform. Oh no, we have to then go back to Chantal to talk and chit-chat, because apparently there was a camera broke just before the Irish performance. So that was that, and we did go to Chantal for a long time, and then we finally went to Ireland. But then after Ireland's performance, we then go back to the hosts again for a chit chat, and then we go to Cyprus, and also, you know, it happened with Ukraine. I think it happened to Malta in the same semi-final. You know, it was quite jarring, that transition of keep on going back to the host. You just want to hear the songs, you know, and I can understand why they do go back to the host, mainly because of staging. And I guess, you know, if you have 6 songs or 8 songs, you know, have like 2 or 3 breaks in the semi, have 3 breaks in the grand final, that's fine, go to the host. But you know, I remember in the grand final also, they did the first 8 songs, and that's fine, and then they had the second part, and they had 2 songs, United Kingdom and Greece, and then they went back to the host, and then went back to another song. But at some points it did feel a bit jarring for me personally, when they all constantly went back to the host. But I can understand if it's like staging, there's got a lot of props to bring on stage, it's fine, but maybe they could have, I don't know, did a better running order with that, if there's so many props on stage. And I guess with all COVID and everything, so that's the thing, it was a lot trickier this year, but yeah, just for me personally, it just felt a bit jarring seeing that happen. But I mean, they did a good job. I mean, to, you know, handle it all. In any case, my number 8, is Tix and Fendi Love Story. Now, how did I put this? Well, basically, during the run-up of rehearsals, it was apparent that Tix was falling in love with Effendi from Azerbaijan, if you believe it or not. Yeah, and and then guess what? They both qualified from the same semi-final. And what was very interesting, when you look at the split results from the first semi-final, you see both Azerbaijan and Norway qualify with the televoters. However, the juries were not playing up to this love story. They wouldn't have qualified with the jury or the Azerbaijan and Norway wouldn't have qualified with the jury, but they did qualify with the televotes, and they both pulled through. What was also interesting is Azerbaijan gave 10 points to Norway in their televote, which made them qualify over Croatia in that first semi-final. So, and for me, you know, it's on this crime list because did this come across a little bit I can't say the bloody word. Manipulative to people that was voting? Were people really voting for the songs, or were they really voting for this so-called love story? You know, I just think it's just it's a hard one. I mean, it's good. I mean, they're all friends and that, and you know, I would like to think that that the love story is real, because at least Dan Tix wasn't like faking a love story to make him qualify to the final. I wouldn't like to think that was like an idea, like a plan to get to the final, because that does come across manipulating and, you know, calculating just to get into the final. I hope it's just, you know, it was just because he fancied Effendi from Azerbaijan. I mean, Effendi was probably playing up to it. Let's keep it real. I mean, she probably couldn't I mean, she doesn't understand 100% English, so she doesn't know what was going on. She probably was playing up to it, because at least the publicity stunt. Are they still together, I wonder? I need to check on that. Anyway, I digress. But the whole point of it is, was this manipulating to get votes, both of them, to get to the final? And it kind of was, really, because there was a lot of publicity. I mean, the Eurovision website published a song from Effendi, which was quite funny, but no other artist was getting this kind of treatment. And, you know, some people say, oh, if you want to get to the final, you know, create a media story, create this and create that. Oh, well, maybe Leslie Roy should have fallen in love with Vasil from North Macedonia, and then both of them would have qualified, then coming near the bottom. You know what I mean? Yeah, I just hoped when people were voting, they were voting for the songs and not this so-called love story. Are they still together? I don't know. They're living in both separate countries. I give it a month. In any case, we move on to so-called lucky number 7, but not so lucky. My number 7 is Croatia not qualifying. Croatia, and it's not because actually, it's not because Croatia not qualifying. It's because how Croatia not qualified. So, Croatia, this was another first for Eurovision. What happened to the whole Croatia situation in the first semi-final? So basically, Croatia qualified with the juries. Croatia qualified with the televote. But overall, they failed to qualify. That was the crime. That was the crime. So yes, it was very interesting. So Croatia just squeezed in with the jury and the televote, but overall it fails to qualify. That's just very unfortunate. It really is. I mean, to qualify with both sides and yet not qualify overall is very heartbreaking. Yeah, and with that, with TikTok, I really thought that was a song that deserved to qualify. I thought watching that in the first semi-final, that was bang. They got the staging right. Yeah, Croatia actually, for once, did get the staging right, and they got the song right. As well. I really loved TikTok. It was one of my favourites when it was selected from Dora, and I just feel it was such a shame that this was the year Croatia should have been in the final and could have got a really good result, and yet it just missed the final out by 5 points, beat by Norway, which frustrates me, but I do like tech, so yeah, let's leave that for now. But I just think it's just so unfortunate for Albania to qualify with both sides and yet not qualify overall. But I guess that's how the maths works. I guess that's how we add up points, and it's just unfortunate. It really was unfortunate how the scores all worked. And to be fair, Croatia just qualified with both jury and televote. It wasn't like top 5 in each. It's just unfortunate. And also, it deserved to qualify. It really did. I genuinely thought it was qualifying. It's interesting with Croatia because before rehearsals, I wanted that to qualify, but I knew it was always going to be borderline. And then seeing the staging, I thought this is going to qualify. This is actually going to make an impact. But then it didn't make it, and I was really surprised. That was one of the ones that Tuesday night where I was actually really surprised and really sad about not making it. And the results are quite upsetting, really, that happened. Yeah. But I digress. Now, my number 6. My number 6 is also an interesting one to analyse. It's some of the grand final running order slots. Now, I have to say, overall, the running order in the grand final was actually pretty good. I think the producers did get the running order mainly right, but there were 2 exceptions. I'm talking about the 2, actually, because one of them got the number 2 spots. Albania getting the number 2 spot, 2 contests in a row, and Malta putting them on so early at number 6. First, let's talk about Albania. Albania getting the number 2 slot, 2 contests in a row, is so unfair. If you would say, oh, Albania got... Getting it in 2019 and getting it in 2021 is just so unfair. If Albania didn't get the number 2 spot in 2019 and they did get it in 2021, then I could understand, it didn't do so well in the semis, somebody had won this floor. Fair enough. But to get it 2 contests in a row just feels unfair. I mean, you wouldn't do this to Sweden, would you? You wouldn't do this to Italy, you wouldn't do this to any of the other countries, so why do it to Albania? I just think, and especially the number 2 spot, which is a death spot. Yeah, I mean, it just feels very unfair to poor Albania, who just really tries to qualify every year, and yet they get the 2nd position in the running order, 2 contests in a row. I just think it's just a bit unfair on Albania. It really is, and if I was the head of delegation of Albania, I would have the right to protest, really. It's just unfair. I guess mainly, I don't know, maybe props had to do something with it, and Albania didn't have any props, and coming on after Cyprus, it was probably an easier transition. But yeah, again, 2 girls wearing silver in the start of the show. Yeah. And also Malta. This is also another one. Malta getting the number 6 slot. Malta getting the number 6 spot in the running order. It's also an interesting one because Malta won their semi-final, but yet had to perform really early on. Well, not really early on, but still quite early on in the semi-final. I guess that is also a bit unfair, considering Malta, you've got to also remember, struggles to get points from the televote usually. They don't have a big diaspora compared to every other country. And I think this deserved to perform later. I think if you win your semi-final, you deserve to perform later. And I don't know why they decided to put Malta on 6th. I don't get that. And mainly, I do think that's the reason why Malta didn't get as many points as they think they were going to get from the televote. And that's why people were shocked. There was some controversy. I can't speak. Controversy. People thought the producers the producers didn't want Malta to win, which I don't understand. Considering I don't know why they would do that. Why they wouldn't want Malta to win. In the first place, I don't know. Is there nowhere to host in Valletta in 2022? They host a junior Eurovision. You just rent out the 2014 place again, because that was better than the 2016 junior hosting, and get better presenters. Could have got Destiny Chicken here. Oh, that's not going to happen. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, I think mainly you can argue like props and that, and maybe the songs it was sandwiched with, maybe I had to do something with it. But yeah, I would put Malta on later. I just think, I just feel like Malta deserved top 5 this year. They deserved a victory, actually, and they came 7th overall, which is still a great result for Malta. It's their best result they've had in a while. But even so, think they would have got a lot more points. They just put more through on it later. And I can understand, you know, somebody has to perform these positions, and I guess, you know, props and everything, you know, that's how it works. But I just think they were done a little bit dirty, in my opinion. I think if you win your semi-final, I think maybe you shouldn't. It's just an interesting one. It really is. Anyway, my number 5. Oh, yeah. My number 5 into the top 5. Damiano being accused of taking drugs after their victory. Now, this also pees me off. It really does. Damiano, you know, Italy won fair and square this year. However, people thought Damiano, sorry, it's late, was taking cocaine during the grand final of Eurovision 2021, although he said in the winners' press conferences he didn't, he just broken a glass. I think people were trying to accuse the Italians, you know, of being disqualified because they were taking drugs during the show. Maybe, I don't know, maybe because people wanted France to win. First of all, may I point out, why would he be taking drugs? I mean, first of all, how would he have been allowed to take cocaine into the building? Seriously, how would he have been... actually, with all the security things happening in Rotterdam, how would he have been allowed to take cocaine into the building? Second of all, why would he have been taking cocaine on camera? May I point out, surely if you were going to take cocaine, you would go to the bathroom or the restroom or whatever you call it, or backstage, or, you know, why would he have been doing it in the green room in the first place? You know, that doesn't make any sense. I think people are just trying to make stories up and, you know, trying to take the win of Italy, you know. I don't get why. I think it's just people trying to make some stories at the end of the day. I mean, it's taking the victory from their hands, you know. I don't know why people do this, you know. I mean, I've got to be honest, Italy wasn't my personal favourite this year, but, you know, I still respect their victory. It was a song that did grow on me on the live show. They did kill it, you know, with that staging. I just wouldn't think, you know... And he had to take a drugs test, for goodness sake, for no reason whatsoever. And you know, he didn't take any drugs, let's point it out. He was accused, but it never happened. Let's keep it real. He said he doesn't take drugs. I mean, he smokes. Most Italians smoke. But that's not saying taking drugs or taking cocaine. I mean, it's just nonsense, really. It's just a stupid story. Like, people just trying to make them disqualified because they want France to win. I would have loved to see France win, but I wouldn't have made up this story just to make, you know, France take the trophy. It's just really ugly. But anyway, Italy won fair and square, and we are going to Italy next year, and I'm looking forward to it. And yes, well done to Italy winning this contest, despite all the drama. And may I point out, Maneskin are lovely people. May I point out that, you know, you might see them as, you know, on stage as divas or rockers, you know, but really, seeing them in interviews actually in Rotterdam, they are really lovely people. Really lovely people, actually, when you get to know them. Really nice. Really are nice Italian people. In any case, my number 4 of what went wrong. Oh, this is so sad. I just want to cry with this number 4. My number 4 is Ireland coming last in their semi-final.
Just
can't. I really am so sad with this. Now, Ireland, when that song came out, there was so much positivity, so much hype, so much love, and then, you know, and this was feeling like it was going to be Ireland's best ever result, best ever entry, literally with, this is saying taking it home, but I'm not mine, but she was going to really do well for Ireland, and then we saw the rehearsals, we saw that they had a very creative vision on stage, was very ambitious, there was a lot going on, but it was still, you know, during rehearsals they were fixing things. And then during the semi-finals, I was really thinking, oh, this could be good, this is going to be good. And the results were coming in, and then it was coming up to the last one. I was thinking, I know it was going to be Ukraine, but I was thinking, oh, come on, Ireland, come on, Leslie, come on, Ireland. And then it was Ukraine, and like, oh! Come on, Ireland.
Who's coming back this Saturday for the
Oh,
grand?
no.
It will be a shock.
Oh my God.
The 10th finalist
This is good.
is Ukraine.
Oh! Well done. No, Ireland! Australia's out! No, Ireland! No, Ireland! No, Australia! No, Croatia! No, Romania! Oh, I'm so gutted for Leslie Roy.
Crying and like, oh!
And that really broke my heart. And then I was hoping, oh, maybe 11th, maybe 12th in the semi. Looked at the results, and guess what they finished?
No, 16. 20 points it got.
Blows my mind. Blows my mind. The juries put it 15th with 16 points. The televoters also put it 15th. This time with 4 points. 4 points. I don't understand that. I really don't understand why Ireland came last. My explanation for this result is there was, in the semi-final, there was commentary saying there's a lot going on. There's a lot to do, a lot of things to do for Leslie, and I guess people were also saying that the staging was a big mess, but I don't think it was that messy. I mean, I agree there was a lot going on. I mean, I prefer if countries do more than nothing at all. But people saying, but I like the staging though. I have to disagree with people. I really like the Ireland being so creative with the whole forest, you know, and the way to go. This is the kind of knocking things out of the way, and then walking on that treadmill, yes, and then coming out that storybook and running down the catwalk. I thought it was really great staging. Maybe they could have added a splash of colour, maybe. You know, I can understand there could have been things they could have tweaked with. Maybe it wasn't perfect. But I still had this as in my top 10 of that semi-final. I still feel strongly that this should have gone through. I can understand there were maybe things they could have worked on, maybe it wasn't a complete masterpiece, but I still think this should have qualified. This didn't deserve rock bottom in the semi-final. No. I mean, maybe Ireland didn't have many friends in the semi, but this is why we have the jury vote, and I thought Maps would be, you know, a radio-friendly song, jury-friendly, ambitious staging, good message, and I thought her vocals were really good in the jury show, and the show itself. Yeah, I just don't understand why it just came last. Below Slovenia! Even below Romania with that staging, I think Maps was a better stage than Amnesia. Below Norway, that did qualify. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. I really thought this was the best song Ireland has ever sent in a while. I just felt really sad for Leslie as well, because she was so emotional after her performance, and I mean, she didn't show her live back on tape, so yeah, I mean, what can I say? I just feel, no, it deserved, what, after, what, I mean, they worked so hard on that, and what does it all get? It only gets 20 points, is that all it deserves? Really? I just think I just really like the staging. Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but I wouldn't have put it last, below Slovenia. or some others that had worse staging, in my opinion, personal opinion. I mean, yeah, let's leave it there. I just feel very sad because I just really genuinely thought this could have got Ivan's best result, and I really liked the song, and I thought they were really trying the staging and worked so hard. It just makes me feel upset. I mean, Latvia, the other semi-final coming last, that I can understand. Just wall of sound, her vocal runs, somehow Tina. I love that woman, but it was just effing. But Ireland coming last in the semi-final just blows my mind. Anyway, my number 3 is Australia not being there. Oh, this is sad as well. This is another non-qualifier. Another non-qualifier. This is also really sad because I like Technicolor and I like Montaigne, and I was really sad when I saw her not qualify. First of all, Australia lost their 100% track record this year, which is very sad that they lost it, and Ukraine is the last country left standing with a 100% track record, so well done Ukraine. But Australia, I was really sad, and I do still strongly feel the reason why Australia failed to qualify this year was because they were not there in Rotterdam. Australia, not qualifying. I think it was mainly because Montaigne's absence at Rotterdam. I do believe that because, when contestants have to do promotion, they have to do it in Rotterdam, they have to do interviews, press conferences, red carpets, or whatever kind of carpets they are, to get promotion for their song and to get votes. And I just feel like watching it from home and watching all the live streams and interviews and etc., it did feel, for me personally, it did feel in a way this year, it felt like Australia weren't competing this year. It just felt like, to me, it just felt they weren't in Rotterdam, so it felt like they weren't a part of the competition, if you know what I mean, which was unfortunate. I just think if she was there doing the interviews and in Rotterdam in person, maybe, I don't know, there would have been a bit more hype, a bit more being on the Eurovision stage. The atmosphere might have been up for Australia, but I just think people just forgot Australia were competing, sadly, this year at Eurovision, because she weren't there, and I think that is unfortunate. I mean, only 3 people turned up for a press conference. What was that all about? I mean, seriously? And yeah, I just think it's unfortunate that travel restrictions had to exclude Australia from really being on the same level ground that everybody else had. It just was unfortunate. It really was. And I did feel sorry for Montaigne, especially when the results coming in and the camera was on her face. And yeah, and I think she knew she weren't going to qualify. And that really broke my heart when she said, I don't think I'm going to be Australia's first non-qualifier, which was so sad. She predicted it. That was just so sad. Because she was right, and I didn't want her to be right. Because I actually genuinely like Technicolor, and I have to say, Australia, although they weren't in Rotterdam, they did, stage it very well on tape. It did feel like they were on the Eurovision stage. I just think, promotion is key. Look what happened to Agneta Norway 2016. She didn't do any interviews, any promo in Stockholm in 2016, and she failed to qualify. And for Norway, that's quite rare. Usually they qualify. Even this year, they managed to qualify with that song. I take stuff away. But no, I think, it kind of proves maybe it's always good to be in the place doing promo than staying at home and then relying on tape. It's unfortunate. I'm sad that Australia's failed to qualify for the first time. I'm sad for Montaigne that she didn't get the full Eurovision experience, and people did forget she was even competing. That just made me sad. and her breaking down. Oh, oh, oh. It's just so sad. But I love Montaigne. Montaigne from Australia. I mean, it's just so sad. It just was a new feeling not having Australia in the final this year. It felt very weird this year. After so many years seeing Australia always in the final, and to see them not in the final first time just felt very weird this year. But I hope Montaigne, is not hurt by this. Obviously, it was going to hurt after she failed to qualify, but hopefully it won't affect her music career, and hopefully, maybe one day we might actually see her on the Euro stage, physically on the Euro stage. I don't know if it'll be next year, because I don't know if she would really want to go for it for another go at this. But, maybe when it's safe for Australia to actually go to the host city, wherever Eurovision is hosted, maybe she might be back one day. Maybe we'll see her in Australia decides again. 'Cause I think she deserves to be in a final. She'll get her moment again. I hope. Maybe Dami In might come next year for Eurovision. Well, that would be nice, actually. But anyway, my number 2. Now, this is also sad. Talking about a country that was affected by COVID. Iceland. Oh, my number 2 was Iceland not being able to physically perform live at Eurovision. Now, Daddy Manga was there in Rotterdam for the first week. They did rehearsals on the Eurovision stage, and they did interviews, press conferences. But sadly, one of the members of Daddy Manga did unfortunately get COVID, and sadly, because of that, they couldn't perform on the Eurovision stage live, and they could have gone separately, but they stuck together, and none of them performed live on the Eurovision stage. What we saw instead was their rehearsal clip for both the semi-final and the grand final this year. It was another one that makes me feel so sad, waiting so long to get your moment on your stage, and COVID-19 just rubs the rug out here, or whatever that phrase is. But anyway, it was just so unfortunate that an act did get COVID during Eurovision week. Oh, I mean, they were very lucky it didn't happen before the rehearsals, and they did get to perform. But it would have been so nice to see them perform into a crowd like everybody else. Just imagine what it would have been like, seeing people in the crowd react to Iceland. It just was so sad. But I mean, at least they did get on the Euro stage. At least, they got to interact, with the press, with interviews and that, and Nikki tutorials. But gosh, it was unfortunate, and I believe the person who had COVID was all right. I think he's all fine now, which is great. But yeah, it was just unfortunate. But I loved when they, when they do the recap, and the artists usually wave their flags in the green room, when the camera pointing them, they had the two guys on the phone and they were all together. That was really nice. And when they qualified, that was just so nice to see that people did vote for them. And you know what? It didn't hurt them. It actually made them stand out in a way. But yet again, it shouldn't happen. It's just another one unfortunate that it happened. But you know what? Also, they came fourth. That's a fantastic result for Iceland. Their best ever result since 2009. I mean, fourth for Iceland. I mean, they've rarely get into the top 10 in the grand final, so that's fantastic for Iceland, and well deserved. They worked so hard on that. I just think it was such a shame that they couldn't perform live in front of a crowd, and they were the only ones in a hotel, and they couldn't, like Monte, couldn't have a full Euro experience, and one of them had have to quarantine and had to go through COVID. That's unfortunate. Really is. It sucks. It sucks. Yeah. But you know what? at least unlike Australia that had their worst ever result, at least Iceland got one of their best results, so hey. In any case, it's now time to reveal who is my my number one thing that went wrong at Eurovision 2021 had to be not one, not two, not three, but four countries in the grand final from the televoting getting nil points. And one of those countries going home with completely nil points. Actually, let's include that second semi-final. 5 countries in the televote getting nil points. Okay, let's talk about the grand final. You had my lovely country, the United Kingdom, came last with the jury vote, getting 0 points from the jury. And in the televote, we got
0 points.
Oh! Oh! No! 0 points. I don't think my reaction was too happy. If you haven't seen it yet. Yeah. I think, yeah. I was really heartbroken and actually a little bit pissed off, actually, to be quite brutal with you. Because I don't think we deserved 0. I can understand the UK weren't going to win this year. We weren't going to lift the trophy. I can be honest with that. I mean, I can understand a bottom 5 result. I mean, I could even, in a tough year, understand coming last. But last with nothing at all?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
It's just, I think if you're going to get a complete 0, first of all, your song has to be, well, shit.
Excuse my French.
Excuse my French. Sorry. Sorry. Just do a Destiny kick. Just this. Whoa! Je me casse! Sorry. I love that girl. Anyway. Je me casse! Sorry. Anyway. But no. Your song has to be really bad. The staging has to be really bad. And this, yeah. Your vocals have to be really bad. And I don't think the UK, okay, the staging could be better. Okay, the song is not the best. And okay, James' voice is not the best in the competition. But that is the worst. It was a decent song from the UK. Okay, I can agree it wasn't a winning song and it wasn't the best, but I think it was a massive improvement from the UK. Considering Michael Wright is bigger than us, this was way better. I thought it was to be more radio friendly. I mean, I heard it on Love Island the other night, so I thought people would get behind this and people would vote for it. Staging, I don't think it was horrible staging. I thought they tried. I like the idea with the 2 trumpets. I thought it did try and make it stand out in the dances. At least it was going for something. Yeah, maybe they could have done a bit more. Maybe there could have been... I mean, there was pyro, but I think, yeah, maybe they could have done something a bit more on stage, more eye-catching. But I thought James's vocals were fine. I mean, with televoting, yeah, I think when people pick up the phone, they can probably vote for only one person. And to be in your top 10 of each country, I can understand UK not doing so well in the televote. But the juries, I'm surprised about, because I really thought it would be more radio-friendly. It's a radio-friendly song, so I don't get why, out of 38 countries, 38 juries did not put this in their top 10. You would think at least one would have put them in the top 10, because Embers is a very radio-friendly song. So, I mean... It does. I'm very confused how juries, all of them, none of them put them in the top 10. I would like to think maybe the UK came both in the jury and the televote. All countries came constantly 11th, so they just missed out on getting a point. Maybe that's what it is. I haven't really checked the whole points of, because there's so much countries, but yeah. But the UK wasn't the only one to suffer nil point. Germany got 0 in the televote. I'm surprised about that. I thought the televote would go really mad and crazy with it. Instead, it went to the complete opposite, and people weren't buying it. I think maybe if people were watching the music video, maybe it would have got more appeal, because that music video is very all over the place, so you kind of go, what's going on here? What's going on? What's he going on about? Well, I think on stage, maybe it came across a bit more theatrical, you know, more of a production, you know, but, and maybe, yeah, maybe if they did more of the music video on stage, maybe it would have got more votes. Oh, but Jenrick was so lovely in Rotterdam. His interview with Nicky Tutorials was just so funny. The whole Set Me Free and that high note. He's such a lovely, funny guy. And I also felt quite bad he only went home with 3 points. He deserved more than 3 points. And then you had Spain go home with 0 points. Well, from the televote. Yeah, I mean, yeah, again and again, I'm not hugely surprised. I thought the Portuguese televote would have given like 1 or 2 points, but no, they didn't bother either. I mean, yeah, I guess that some of the commentary was saying like it was just another generic ballad. I mean, I thought Blast was really good, and in a way I was quite happy Spain didn't come last, I've got to say. And they did get some points from the juries. Because, you know, there was emotion in there was a story behind the song. I don't think, yeah, again, it just wasn't the greatest ballad of all time, and I guess Blast could do better, I guess, you know. But he really can sing, though, Blast. I thought the juries would have given a bit more, but I guess the song just wasn't it. And then you had the Netherlands, which also I was quite sad about, getting 0 from the televote. I thought it would have got a bit more, actually. I thought the host would have got a bit more this year, I've got to say. I thought the running order, you know, it had a quite late running order, slot 23. You rarely see, well, a song performing that late getting 0. It's quite interesting. I guess that was running between Norway or Italy, so maybe it got a little bit lost in the running order, even though it was quite late on. Yeah, and it didn't have to compete in the semis. Yeah, Italy and France didn't compete in the semis, and they came top 2. And then you have at the bottom the other 4 automatic qualifiers, which is also a very interesting way of looking at it. But back to the Netherlands. I really like this song. You know, you my broccoli, you my broccoli. I thought yeah, again, people said, oh, Eurovision's a pop contest, and this wasn't commercial enough. I disagree that Eurovision is a pop contest. You don't hear pop every song at Eurovision, I'm sorry. I think it should have got more than 0 points in the televote. I thought the staging was nice. You know, this was a whole controversy around the broccoli lyric. Maybe they should have played more with the broccoli on stage. But no, maybe they would have got points. But no, it was more than broccoli. I mean, it deserved more than 0 points there as well. And that also made me sad, because I really would have liked to see a host country do better, and I thought there was a good meaning, good heart. Good hearty song with the Netherlands this year. But hey, next year's host is Italy. You know, Italy usually always makes the top 10, so at least next year we'll definitely have a good host country, because Italy always make the top 10. Anyway, and also Czech Republic getting 0 in the televote. That's also another interesting one to talk about. Benny Cristo, I'm not surprised the juries where they put Czech in the semis, but I'm surprised by the televote putting that last with 0 points. I thought people would vote for Benny's personality, people would think it's a fun, catchy song, very likeable, very fun, very upbeat, but no, I think the staging really did let that down, because the staging did look empty, and when you did zoom out, you kind of think, where are they? And it was a very dark staging, what I remember it. So they kind of did get swallowed up, which is unfortunate. I mean, and maybe people did say he was kind of holding back in that performance, so, and he had to perform early on in the semi. I think he deserved more than 0, Benny. I think, yet again, yeah, to get 0 in a semi-final of 17 songs is very unusual, so, yeah, not to be in anybody's top 10. So it was probably a lot of people, a lot of countries, bottom 6 and bottom 7, so, yeah, it's another interesting one. I'm surprised. I don't think that also deserved 0 points. I thought that was a very likeable song. I thought it deserved more than 0, basically. And I do think, you know, Netherlands, Spain, Germany, UK, and Czech Republic all deserve more than 0. I don't think really any of these songs deserve to go home with 0 from the televote. I think the UK deserved to at least get 1 point from someone. It didn't deserve to get a combined 0. I'm sorry, I'm not being biased here. I just think, okay, it can come last, but go home with nothing at all? Are you serious? But, that was just so sad. That really, you know, to go home with 0. I mean, this is not as worst as Gemini. I mean, Electric Velvet went home with 5 points. Michael Rise went home with 11 points, you know. Josh DeBovie went home with points with that dodgy vocal. So, yeah, and James Newman had a decent, good vocal and went home with 0. I just think it was just unfortunate, like, and that's how Eurovision works with the top 10s, you know. And it's not, may I point out, nothing's political at Eurovision. There was nothing about Brexit or anything, about leaving the EU. It had nothing to do with it. Nobody is... People will be drunk at a party will not think, oh, I'm not going to vote for the UK, they're leaving the EU. Don't vote for that. No, people won't do that. I'm sorry. At the time, you know, in May, like Eurovision week, there were things going on in Israel, but they still managed to qualify and come top 5 in the semi-final and get a good result from Israel. So it kind of proved that politics got nothing to do with Eurovision, alright? So don't make that excuse for the UK. It's just how it works. I know, it sucks. The UK deserved to go home with at least 1 point. It didn't deserve to go combined 0, but it had nothing to do with politics, may I point that out. And yes, so that is my top 10 of the things that were horribly, that shouldn't have happened, but did, at Eurovision 2021. Comment down below if anything I missed. And yes, I'm so sorry this video has been out. You know, it's been 2 months since Eurovision now. Oh gosh, wow, where's the time gone? I've got a new job as well since then, which is great. So I've been very busy. Yes. But any case, I was so happy to have Eurovision, despite all the bad things that went wrong at Eurovision 2021. There were so many good things, and maybe I should do a video on that. So yeah, it was just so nice to have Eurovision back, despite all that. And yes, let's roll on Eurovision 2022 and Junior Eurovision 2021 in December at Christmas time in Paris, as we imagine that. Anyway. Comment down below anything, like and subscribe this video, and I will be back for more content very soon. Until then, goodbye people, goodbye!